Hi, class. Welcome to the third week of the public speaking course. I hope you had a great second week. The second week was very busy. There was a whole lot of work. You get a little bit of a break this week, not quite so much work. So, when you come into the class, you always want to make sure that you're taking a look at the announcements and reading those. And then we'll go ahead and go on to the module. As you can see, here's Unit 2 with all of the assignments that were due. And then here is Unit 3, which is obviously much less work. So I am working on grading your Unit 2 work now. I should have it all graded by Friday. So if you can just be patient with me, there's a lot of work to grade. So let's take a look at what we have going on in Unit 3. Please be sure to read these 4 chapters. It's really important that you do that to be able to complete the assignments as well as the quiz this week. Here are the learning outcomes that are addressed this week. There's quite a lot of them, so just go ahead and make sure you read through those. And then our unit objective is to compose an informative speech and offer critical supportive feedback to your peers. So to that end, you're going to read the Unit 3 lecture. You can see it's pretty short, but make sure you thoroughly read through it because all this is very important information for this week. And then we have a bit of an unusual discussion this week. I don't know if you've ever done this before in any of your classes, but you're going to be reviewing your classmate speeches from last week, the self-concept speech. In order to do that, you are going to use this peer-reviewed document. And so you want to make sure that you are completing this. You want to address each part of it. So you want to make sure you're thoroughly addressing each of these components of the introduction, each of these components of the body, each of these components of the conclusion, as well as the delivery, technical requirements, and overall evaluation. So we want to be sure that you're doing a really, really thorough review, and you're going to use this as your guide. So we need to make sure you address every single one of these points in your evaluation. You can see here the grading rubric. And so here are the instructions. So you're going to have 2 initial postings this week. So you're going to be reviewing 2 of your peers' speeches. So you can see here, I've made a note that you will complete a peer review this week. And I have set up the first speech as a peer review assignment, which means you should have access to it. You are allowed to see all of the speeches for the class. You only need to choose 2 for your peer review. But you can take a look at other ones if you want to, or review more speeches if you'd like to do that. And then once you've done that, you want to see if anyone has posted about your speech. If they have, if somebody has reviewed your speech, then you want to comment back on that, okay? You need to have at least 2 peer responses this week. So you're going to post 2 peer reviews and have 2 peer responses. Now, it does happen sometimes that no one will review your speech. If that happens, just go ahead and respond to some other comments. I'll also be posting comments so you can respond to my comments to make sure that you're meeting the participation points. You still have to meet that peer response requirement, whether or not somebody reviews your speech. So you should be able to find the speeches if you go to home. Now your interface is going to look a little different than mine, but if you go under to do, you should see here the Unit 2 speech. You should be able to select that and open that up and access your peers' speeches. So please just let me know if you have any trouble with that. Okay, and then after you've completed the discussion, we do have homework this week. Last week we talked about your informative speech topic. This week we're going to create the outline. It's the same outline format that you used for your previous speech. You want to make sure that you download the informative outline guide and use the formatting here. So make sure you're including all of these parts to your speech. The reason why it's very important to do that is because, especially the introduction, body, conclusion, all of this is what I'm going to be grading on. So this mirrors very similarly the grading rubric for the speech. And so if you have addressed all of these in the outline, you're more certain to address all of these components in your speech, and therefore I won't be deducting points because you've included all the required elements. So you have that due this week as well. And let me back up and tell you that the outline is actually due on Thursday of this week. That way I can get it graded and back to you in time for you to complete it for your informative speech, use it for your informative speech. And then finally, you do have a quiz this week on the content of this module and the readings in the textbook. So you want to make sure that you have read everything that is required for this unit before you begin to take the quiz. Remember, there is no time limit on this test, and you can have multiple attempts, but it will close on Sunday of this week. So make sure that you complete the quiz by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. So if you have any questions this week, don't hesitate to reach out. A quick recap of what we have going on. Of course, you'll do all of the preparatory materials. You have a peer review for class discussion. You're going to post 2 peer reviews of your speeches and respond to 2 peers. You have the informative speech outline for your homework, and you have a quiz on Unit 3. I hope you have a great week, and if you have any questions, please let me know.